Bitcoin's alive, what you gon' do? Mempool fees are high. Ordinal. Where does it stop? Nobody knows. It's a revolution. Ay, Bitcoin is the one, no substitution. Ay, with Shizzy and Yagobi, it's Ordinal Revolution.
Welcome back to Ordinal Revolution. My name is Shizzy. On this channel, we cover the entire Bitcoin Ordinal ecosystem. What's up, guys? We have a great show for you guys today. We have another founder interview, team interview. It's going to be amazing. We got the Ordinal Hive. These guys are building, man. They are building from BTC Startup Lab to almost a ready-to-go product, man. We can't wait to dig into this. We've been foaming at the mouth since our last spaces. If you're not in our spaces, guys, this is where we showcase the early projects every Saturday morning from 8 to 11. We go hard with these guys. Definitely want to be in there. You're going to get, you see real-time partnerships happening in the space. Happened again today. Check that out every Saturday morning, man. It's absolutely amazing. But without further ado, let me bring in my partner, as always, Mr. Yagobi. What's up, buddy?
What is up?
What's going on, man? So we've been talking about this episode for a while now, bro.
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be really, really exciting because this is something that is coming to the space that I think is definitely needed in terms of like a product level. Having like a pro trading type of platform to give people that are really into trading and flipping ordinals and stuff, and maybe you don't flip them all the time, but like whatever your strategy is, you can use these tools and features to help you along the way.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, is like it's building the foundation, right? Like these tools and stuff. This is all a part of a decentralized ecosystem. Like you need these type of tools, whether it be all times of structure and stuff like that. And I think Ordinal Hive is really bringing that.
Yeah, and like when we had Fonzi on last Saturday, like you could feel his energy and passion, like when he was talking to us, and like someone that has that kind of energy and passion is who you want to be kind of like the face of the project, right? And not just only him, like even after we left the spaces, we talked to like other people that we knew in the space, and they knew him through the BTC Startup Lab, and they're like, he's great, man. Like he's bringing so much energy to the space, and I can't wait to actually test out the product.
Yeah, me either. And the best part about this, he's actually going to show his face, guys. We do so many interviews with him. We're talking to avatars, talking to someone face to face. I feel like that's really smart for these founders to do, because that's how I like to hear like, that's how I get bullish, right? That's how I get bullish. Someone when you see their face emotions and see how passionate they are. So I think it's time to get the show started. What do you think?
Yeah, let's bring them up.
All right. Fonzi, welcome to Ordinal Revolution, sir.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. So I saw the intro. Was that Sam Sage who sang that?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he's a homie. He's a really good rapper and stuff. Always chilling with him in Ordinal space. But yeah, I saw the intro. I'm like, man, I got hyped. Let's do this. I can do this forever. Let's do it.
So, yes, shout out Sam Sage, man. He did our intro song. Amazing guy. Didn't even charge us much at all, dude. He did it basically for free almost, man. So we really appreciate Sam, and we're gonna keep that forever. That's our thing now, man. But how are you doing, man?
I'm doing amazing. I'm here chilling on a Saturday. I'm currently in LA, so every day's summer. Except for like last week, it was just raining and pouring. But yeah, no, definitely been busy building Ordinal Hive. It's been crazy. There's just so many things we've been doing in the back end. And yeah, we're super excited to showcase that, and we're even more excited to try it ourselves and just going from there, right? It was a long journey, long process, and I think it's just a culmination of just amazing people, support, community behind this, and we just really can't wait. I just want to press the start button and let's do this.
Amen. But we're gonna get into all that. But first, we kind of need to know about the person, right? So you can't have a good space or good project without good people. Can you take as far back as possible to kind of really tell us about yourself?
Absolutely. So I'll break it down like this. I'll sort of break it down how I entered the space, and then sort of my journey from then, and then my journey into Ordinals. So I joined the space back in 2017, and it was back when I was an undergrad at UCLA, and I needed tuition money out of necessity, actually. So I thought, you know what, the smartest thing you can do is invest and then do research later. So that's exactly what I did. I invested, and then 2 days, 3 days later, right, I did my research. And I was like, what the hell did I just invest in? But when I was doing my research, right, I sort of found out about decentralization, permissionless, stuff like that. And I just grew fond and in love with it, everything about it, right? I was so inspired. I launched my first startup the very next year. So one of the biggest problems around the area at UCLA is sort of the parking, right? So I thought, why not create a platform where, homeowners can come in, these other driveways for anyone looking for parking. And then the more you use the platform, the more tokens you get. So in theory, it worked perfectly. In practice, it was a different, level of execution needed. But I learned so much from that experience, right? It sort of taught me the skills that I've used along the way to sort of navigate and kind of grow from that. So it's always about the growth mindset. It's always about moving forward, pushing forward, and sort of pushing the boundaries, right? From that point on, I just got more sort of involved with the space, different projects. And then 2021 hit and stuff. So I got involved with NFT projects, stuff like that. And really just got to see like the bull run, right? Like start from like the very beginning to like ending, right? And during that time, I launched my second startup with another company. It was a nonprofit, and they sort of launched their own decentralized DAO. So you can think of it as a decentralized LinkedIn. And during that time, it was just amazing, right? I got to like interact with developers. I got to experience like decentralization, right? How it works, how Web3 decentralization works, working with people across the globe, right? For a common goal, and that was so fun. And during that time, I also launched my own newsletter. So I would talk about NFTs, digital assets, stuff like that. And it wasn't until like last year, February, when I found out about Ordinals, I wrote a post about that. And I was just so interested for two reasons. Number one, it was on Bitcoin. And number two, it was fun, right? And you can't beat that. Like that's like, people talk to me all the time. They're like, Alfonso, like you're working on this all the time. You're always working day and night, right? Non-sleep, like nonstop. Like, don't you ever get tired? I'm like, no, this is what I do for fun. Like this is my hobby, right? Clubbing Fridays or Saturdays, do parties. I'm like chilling on spaces, trying to figure out like the next cool thing, talking about recursions or like this tech stuff like that, right? I'm geeking out. It's sort of embedded within the culture, right? But early on, like in Ordinals, you got to see like sort of the issues. One of them is it's not traders friendly, right? So transaction times, the fees. And we even got a glimpse of that last year towards the end of it. It's gonna be a problem, right? You can't sort of trade these assets quickly. And the fees is only gonna get worse. And that, by the way, this is like during a bear market. So like imagine a bull run, it's gonna be far like 10 times, 20 times worse. So for me, excuse me, for me and my team, right, we saw like sort of the issues early on, and we thought, you know what, like there's no platform that caters to traders. So why not just build it ourselves, right? Why not build that ourselves? And doing so in a way that we optimize for traders, which we can discuss in a bit. But that's kind of like a quick TLDR in terms of my journey and being in the Ordinal space. And again, like shout out to also the Bitmap community. Love Bitmap. I think during that time is when like you start seeing different groups and community spaces propping up, right? So yeah, definitely love to discuss that too. But yeah, feel free to ask any questions. Take it away.
Yeah. First of all, your background is pretty extensive, man. Like honestly, and especially with the experience in the crypto space and going through those kind of like, the two startups, I imagine gave you a lot of experience of kind of like, okay, I learned from this, I learned from that. I'll probably do this differently, or form my team differently this way. Has that helped you, going into the startup lab, feeling a little bit like kind of a little bit more confident maybe than some people that just entered the space?
Absolutely, 100%. I think like I got into grad school at UCLA, I dropped out because I realized like grad school, like it's cool and everything, but like what truly matters are the skills you learn, right? School is one thing; they won't teach you those skills. Like the life skills you need, like it's better for you to go out there and gain them yourselves, right? I talk to plenty of people; they tell me like Fonzi, like how can I get this skill? Like school's not teaching it, right? Like you can get this skill yourself, right? You can go out there and search for that skill. Go like start at the very like lowest level and just work your way up. And that's something sort of like you want to be a self like initiator, like you always want to be a student, a learner, right? And go from there. So for me, yeah, absolutely. Like one of the biggest things is planning and execution, right? Planning is one thing. Perfect planning is amazing. You gotta plan for stuff. But if you can execute, right, then there's a problem, right? And part of that execution comes with discipline and making sure like you're attentive to everything you do, right? Every sort of multifaceted approach you're taking, you make sure that you attend to that. So yeah, definitely I feel like there was an edge in that regard. Because I tried like most of the stuff I learned was through like trial and error. Like I think life is the best teacher you can have. It's definitely the harshest one too, but like it teaches you so many things. And the goal here is to like fail, but fail fast and learn quickly, right? And then move on. Dust yourself off, move on, and go from there. But yeah, I feel like that experience there has taught me so much. And again, like I'm a huge believer in the growth mindset. So it's a forever evolving situation as yourself as a person. But I'm all here for it, and I would not want it any other way.
Yeah. And like the saying is that like it's okay to have mistakes, but if you're not learning from them, then they're wasted mistakes, right?
Exactly.
And so I think that's like the the life lesson kind of whenever you're trying to be successful in something. But I have one more question, kind of like going into the BTC Startup Lab. We know a lot of people from there. We have a lot of friends like Robin, Liquidium, Bison Labs.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
what's the biggest like benefit that you've received from the Startup Lab so far?
Yeah. So there's a saying. There's a saying like it takes a village to raise a child, right? And that saying is true. I know it's a very cliche. Everyone knows about it and stuff. But like there's a difference between knowing it and experiencing it, right? And you experience that in a Bitcoin startup lab. Like these people have tons of experience working with different startups on Bitcoin, especially on Bitcoin, right? But they just have like tons of experience, right? Doing extensive network also helps. So like with that, like being like a young entrepreneur, right? There's so many things that and this is part of experience, right? Like so many things I don't know yet due to experience, right? And that's fine. That's not a problem. We can always outsource it to people who do, right? And that's what Bitcoin Startup Lab provides you, sort of that platform to reach that specific, those specific solutions or goals, right? So like the biggest thing I've gotten so far has been the network and the mentorship throughout, right? These are fantastic people who have like done it before. And so what better way to like, and here's a life hack. Like instead of you failing on live, just like ask someone who's like done it before and failed for you so that you don't make the same mistake, right? And make sure you learn from it too. But that's probably the biggest draw there.
Yeah, man. So, how did you find the Startup Lab, and like, why did you pick Bitcoin? Why not a different chain?
Yeah, 100%. Good question. Actually, it was a tweet. Who tweeted this out? So I found out about the Bitcoin hackathon in the summer. And I forgot who tweeted this out. It was someone in the space. I think it might have been Shara. So she tweeted something out about the Bitcoin hackathon, and then I sort of just like started doing research in terms of like, okay, what's the Bitcoin Startup Lab? What are they about and stuff? And I saw like I read their profile. I saw like what they did, and I was like, wow, this is probably something I'd be interested in doing, right? Like I've joined previous like accelerators before, especially at UCLA. We have one Startup UCLA, and I thought they were fantastic experiences and so forth. So that was like my introduction to Bitcoin Startup Lab, right? And then I sort of just met with different people who also were part of the cohorts. And I thought to myself, man, they sound pretty cool. Like they know what they're doing, whatnot, right? And I think the network, the mentorship, all that stuff is probably the key here, right? In terms of why Bitcoin, okay, so that's where I started. So I started in Bitcoin. So I love finance. I love people who are in finance, right? Some of my favorite YouTubers. So one of them is called Bitcoin University by forget his name, but he was previously known as Trader University, which he rebranded to Bitcoin. Great guy. I recommend you guys like check him out. He's one of the OGs. And then another person who's really good with finance is Mike Maloney. So I've been following him for some time, and I found out about Bitcoin through him. So when he was talking about this like back like a decade ago or so, I sort of like remember like him talking about that and going from there. And these are people I admire because they've been through it. They have extensive knowledge, but they're also self-taught individuals, right? And I think if anyone gets anything out today, like you don't need like you can teach yourself all this stuff, right? It just takes discipline and action, right? But I chose Bitcoin because like it's not only is it like true form of decentralized currency, right? But of the community itself, it's true form of decentralized community for the people, right? And you have to understand the fundamentals of it. Like if you're a person who wants to build a business, right? Where would you want to build it? Which blockchain do you want to choose, right? And again, like Ethereum is great, Solana is great, but like let's be honest, Bitcoin is probably where you want to build it at, right? For so many reasons, right? And people always like sort of I'm not sure if you're allowed to cuss, but people always like okay, cool. So I won't do that. People always like give kind of slack or on Bitcoin because it never changes, like dinosaur, like they won't change the code. But that's probably a good thing. You should be bullish on that, right? That they're not changing the code. Because they consistently change the code, you have something unstable, and people don't like instability, right? So it's good that happens. It also forces you to like innovate and think of solutions and outside the box, which we have over the last year. So why Bitcoin? All those things coupled together, right? The community decentralization factor, the people who back it are involved, right? And the fact that it's sort of like it's almost like an entrepreneur's playground. Like it's just like people want to innovate, people want to be part of it, and it's something that it cannot be replicated.
I love it, man. That was great answer. A great answer. I think the community is really gonna love that answer as well. Let's kind of get into so you're in the BTC Startup Lab. How does Ordinal Hive begin, and kind of get into what exactly it is?
Yeah, 100%. So we had this idea to start. If you see her post, like we had this idea to start back in the summer. But like it was probably like here's another thing with startups. So like timing matters. Timing is probably the most important factor in sort of success and as well as execution, right? But at the time there was no infrastructure being built, right? So it was very difficult to build something like this. Like we would have to build everything out ourselves, and so forth, which we can definitely do, but it'll take much more time. Um, but yeah, no. When it comes to when it came to Ordinal Hive and sort of like how it started, like it was just simply like I got tired of paying transaction fees. I got tired of like missing out trades. I got tired of just like simply like having my Ordinal stuck on mempools, which I still have a couple. I can boost it with fees, but I actually love using it as an example. So I have one that's stuck. It's been like 3 months already, probably. It's probably gonna stay there for a minute. It's like low sat for rebuy. But like some of these pressing issues like started back then when I was training this stuff, right? And I realized, man, like this is not. I mean, there needs to be a solution to this. This is not good, right? And so for me, it was like, okay, what can I do? How can we do things differently? How should we like operate and build this thing, right? And so for us, like the most important part was like trying to figure out like, okay, who are our angel users, who are our users, who are our customers, at the same time being like super user obsessed, which I feel like I am to an extent, right? And going from there, optimizing for them, right? Every time I'm in a space, I talk about this, and I truly mean this. Like, I want the community as part, like big time as part of this project as anyone else, right? I want them to be involved in every step of the way, right? And help us along the way as well, right? Give us feedback, tell us what to build, like be part of the proposals, right? Presentation, all that stuff. And I'm actually very happy about this too. We hosted 2 spaces previously. And the first space we had a community vote, which was our first official vote, which was if we should nuke this space, nuke it, because we dropped lots of alpha. So we end up deleting the space because it said yes. And then the second one was like whether we should have the test site for 1 week or 2 weeks long. And it chose 2 weeks, right? So we're gonna have the test site for 2 weeks long. But yeah, a lot of it is like getting them involved in the process, and for us is like seeing that there's an issue, right? There's an issue training, from our level, from our eyes, and the other people's too. When we were doing these customer interviews, we realized, okay, everyone's had the same experience, right? And so how can we optimize? How can we create something for them that's beneficial, that's a good protocol, and that's here for long term, right? And so for us, it's sort of like thinking that through that process, kind of like looking at the whole picture as well as individual like pixels, and going from there. Again, it's an iterative process, so iteration after iteration is very, very important. But at the end of it, having like the goal in mind and like kind of just navigating towards that, right?
Awesome, man. That's actually really amazing. So you basically saw a problem, you wanted to solve it, you did your research, and you came up with this product. It's like the perfect setup.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing too, cheesy is like it's like evolution, like adaptation is very, very important, right? Like when you guys see testnet, and I always preach this, like when you guys see testnet, it's gonna look much different on beta, right? Because you're gonna see real time like input feedback, right, as change to beta, and then from beta to launch, right? So each step of the way is gonna look different, from like the UI to the experience to everything, right? So by the time we launch, we have something that we can use and degen together. By the way, I'm gonna degen into the map, so we'll talk about that.
That's awesome. Your other 2 startups, did you take that approach of interviewing users, or is this the first time you've used?
Yeah.
You did?
Absolutely. So actually, do you guys know who Terrence Tao is?
No.
Sounds familiar.
He's a popular mathematician, Terrence Tao, at UCLA. Very, very like he's won like the highest like mathematical awards you can win and stuff. And he's a professor at UCLA as well. But when I was doing my customer interviews for my first startup, I accidentally knocked at his house, and it was a Sunday morning, and he was reading this math book. I forgot what it was called, but it was some mathematical math book. Like, who reads like a math book in the morning on a Sunday morning? Like, I'm a nerd, but like, man, that's taking it to a whole different level, right? And then, yeah, and so as I was like asking him these questions and so forth, I sort of walked away, and I thought to myself, like, he looks so familiar. Like, who's that? And at that time, I had my friend Harry. He was next to me. He was doing those interviews with me, and I looked at him and I told him like, bro, like he looks very familiar. Do you know who he is? And he kind of like starts thinking. I'm like, I think that was Terrence Tao. And sure enough, we go to this picture and we're like, wait, that's Terrence Tao. So like he lived next to like our school, which was crazy. But yeah, no, during that process, like yeah, we were doing interviews, kind of interviewing people, our customers, who where they were. And I think that's very important. Like if you want to launch a project, okay, if you want to launch a project, it helps to be an angel user yourself, right? because then you know like what it is that you want to build, like what things you want to see. It also helps to have other people, right? So you see like from a different perspective, because it's oftentimes very difficult to like kind of see yourself from like a different perspective. But having all these consistent interviews, right? You see the different like responses, commonality, stuff like that, and then you can build a product for everyone, right? But yeah, I definitely take that approach, and I would definitely recommend it for anyone who's doing that.
Yeah. The reason why I ask is because I know some people that maybe had started in the earlier cohorts, and I think maybe the BTC Startup Lab emphasize that more now. The questionings and interviews and stuff, and it seems like I've seen like just projects get better as time has gone on. So yeah, definitely you see the trends and all that stuff. But what made you like decide, okay, trading, like a pro trading platform, where what indicator in your interviews were you consistently seeing for a pain point?
Yeah, 100%. So the way I usually explain this is very simple, like a line, right? You have a line at the very left, like at the very left hand side, you have like creators, and then you have traders at the very right hand side, right? Every platform right now that exists in order space, it's true for other blockchains, but just Bitcoin, right? Every marketplace that trades sort of inscriptions falls underneath that line. We have platforms who optimize for creators, platforms who are in between, right? There's no platform towards right. And when we're conducting these interviews, right, one of the biggest things we saw was like, the issue of liquidity, the issue of like, actually, it's funny too, because we were interviewing people from Solana and Ethereum later on, and at first it was Bitcoin. But when we were interviewing people on Bitcoin, it's almost like they gave up and they just accepted the long block times. They were like, okay, there's something that can be done. We're just gonna accept this, right? But this is something like we wish was better. They spoke about the fees, right? They spoke about the lack of like kind of functionalities, specific pro features as well. They mentioned liquidity as a concern. They mentioned that some of them like had to have 10 tabs open to ensure that they don't miss out on trades, which is kind of like taken to the next level. But they had different tabs open on different marketplaces, right? Of course, there's a liquidity concern. So like just hearing all those responses, told us like, okay, there's a big, huge issue, which is very common. And it's even more common for people from different blockchains like Solana, right? Like people from Solana came over to Bitcoin, they're like, dude, like what's going on? Like 10 minutes? Like, what is this? Is this like literally like, Stone Age? What's going on over here? So, taking those kind of responses into account, we decided, okay, you know what? It is quite interesting. There's something that's going on here. Maybe like there is a need. There's a huge need for it. And sure enough, when we like sort of tweet our first official tweet in terms of like who we are, what we did, that was confirmation that actually there is a need. There's a need for a pro trading platform specifically catered to traders who trade ordinals and make money, meaning Bitcoin, right? And so that was like validation of the fulcrum, right? As you'll say. And then for us, it's just like kind of optimizing that and going towards that, build that ready MVP and going from there. But yeah, 100%. Like these customer interviews gave us so much insight, and it was almost like confirming like what a hypothesis per se, right? And I have a statistics background, so like hypothesis is everything. Go with the hypothesis and then try to disprove it. And if you find supporting evidence, then you got something.
Yeah, man. So you're building this. Obviously, you're not building on directly on layer one. You're going to build this on a ZK rollup, and that ZK rollup that you chose was Bison Labs. Can you talk about your relationship with Bison Labs and why you picked them?
100%. So actually, I met Jay like a while back. I think I met him back in my time might be off, like November time.
Didn't he go to UCLA?
Yes, exactly. He did.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was okay. So funny enough, like the reason why I wanted Jay was because he went to UCLA, right? So it's always nice having a fellow Bruin, right? It's like I love my school, I love my university and stuff, and I think there's always that sort of like attachment you have, right? So when you hear other Bruins in the ecosystem who are part of that, like it's fucking amazing. There's also this other his name is Danny Tricks. He's also alum from so I gotta hit him up. He's pretty cool. So I gotta see how he's doing. But it's always fun. I'm having that. So like from there, that was like the first like sticking point. That was like, okay, he's a Bruin. So like, we both have that shared experience. And then just talking to him, like, him and I aligned on many things, right? For him, it was the same issue, right? He was trying to optimize a platform for like, BRC20 tokens, right? Trading faster, all the cool stuff. And even tackling liquidity issues. So like there's different factors. Like number one, sure, it was that school. Number two is like we have the shared vision. Number three is tempo. Like we both operate the same. We both like move fast. We want to ship things fast, but very effectively, right? It's one thing to do it efficiently, but you want to do it right. And so for me, it was that. It was those things coupled together. And just talking to them like, the same mindset as I do, which is always a positive, always a plus, and then going from there. So yeah, I think for me it was almost like almost a no-brainer. And then the best part, like icing on the cake, was that it was a ZK rollup. And the reason why is because like if you look at these other ecosystems, like other blockchains, you have L2s, right? And they're supposed to serve as an extension of that specific blockchain, but they don't. They become like their own independent tokenized economies. So like, what's a true extension of Bitcoin? Well, a ZK, sovereign rollup, right? It's using the scalability of an L2 while it still has the security of Bitcoin. So for us, it was like, okay, no brainer. We get to trade these assets, this layer one assets, a lot faster and a lot better, right? So let's just go with this. Let's do this. And he matches our tempo. He matches our momentum. He has the same drive, mission. Perfect combination. Let's go.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, Jay is definitely like he's an expert in his field, right? I guess you could say like everybody respects him and his skill set and his team too. Jake and his brother as well. But that's awesome that you're joining that platform. And going to be a part of that whole ecosystem. So Ordinal Hive, it seemed like I remember you talking on the spaces last week. You have experience yourself in the space too a lot, right? So you have experience with different communities. What's been your approach to grow your community? Because that's not the easiest thing to do, like especially without the product being live. So what's your approach with that?
Yeah, 100%. I think, yeah. So when I say this, I mean this. Like, my social life consists of me being on Twitter like every single day. I live on Twitter rent free. Yeah, like I'm there. Like there was this one point in time where, especially during like the holidays, like Thanksgiving and Christmas, I was there like every single day and night. I would sleep with my phone on and charged on a Twitter space, right? I get the daily alpha. And if you look at my personal account too, like I used to write like threads. I can do it no more because I've been busy, so I miss those. But like I used to write threads in terms of like what the F is going on in the Orno space, and then cover like the developments and so forth, right? So like when it comes to inscriptions, JPEGs, NFTs in general, like it's different from tokens because there's culture attached to it, right? Like culture is everything. Like you have to understand the culture. Even during the inscription wars, right? Like you saw culture sort of play out, right, with the numbers and the communities and all this stuff. So it's embedded. It's part of it. It's like part of the ecosystem. It's part of like sort of Bitcoin, especially ordinals. And I feel like the profile, the culture, right? Sort of like super degen, like going all in, inscribing first, doing like asking questions later, and whatnot, and having like forming true like real relationships in the space, right? Like I host spaces with Gen Data since I believe like October, November time, right? And one of the best things we love doing, and by the way, I actually would love to invite you both to there if you guys definitely want to next week. Definitely love having you both. But one of the best things we love doing is highlighting projects, right, and people in the space as they grow. And from that vantage point, right, it's about helping each other, right? It's about helping each other and growing together as a community. And like I have not seen like this is the first time I see the true like real power of Web3 community through Bitcoin through ordinals, right? So yeah, definitely a lot of it was forming like those true relationships, right? Making lots of tons of friends. Like all my friends are online at this point, right? Just being so much in the space. And I miss it. I miss DJing. I miss being in the space 24/7. I can't do it anymore just because I've been busy, but that's something I miss. And there's like different communities, right? Ordinukis, there's like, Gusinos, the Bitmap community, of course, Ordinal Misfits, like pretty strong communities in the space. And of course, Bitcoin Fox, so Bitcoin Swamp spaces. But there's so many things you can do, right? And people within the space like know me, right? Ecosystem who are just building something amazing. So like for me, it was something that I kind of just like relate with these individuals, these entrepreneurs, founders, and like kind of like individuals who like foresaw this happening, who were there early and visionaries, right? So from there, it was just like understanding the culture. So like for me, it's like when I was doing the marketing, it's like if I was sitting on the other end, what would I want to like hear or watch or see, right? How would I want this product to be pitched, right? In a way, how would the structure, the planning, execution, all this stuff. And there's some like commonalities to like a project, but some differences just because we're a protocol versus like just inscription project. But at the same time, the culture is still embedded within that, right? So for us, it's like we've seen the ecosystem from the very beginning, from February grow into now. And so we see what works, what doesn't work, right? We see what sort of like fits the narrative, what doesn't fit the narrative, right? And it helps to like have us like as insiders, angel users, all that stuff, right? And I guess at the end it's just like bringing all that together, planning, and of course executing, right? So yeah, I definitely love that. I think I'd consider myself a Desian. And it's with that mindset, that experience and culture that I come in strong with the marketing itself. But yeah, it's fun. Like at the end of it, you want to have fun, and if you love what you're doing, I mean, you never work a day in your life, right?
Yeah, hell yeah. That's awesome. So like Ordinal Hive, so I from my understanding, it's kind of like it would be like the DYDX of Ordinals of Bison Labs. Would you say that was correct?
Yeah, yeah, definitely like faster trading, DYDX, right?
Yeah.
Every ecosystem has like its sort of trading platform they go to. We definitely take inspiration from TensorTrade too. TensorTrade has done something great. Blur has done something great as well. And Ethereum Blur is another great example. But we want to sort of make our own. We want to carve our own
Yeah.
to fit Bitcoin, right? Because like TensorTrade, Blur, they have their ecosystem, they have their culture. Ordinal Hive is on Bitcoin. We have our ecosystem, we have our culture, right? So it's like fitting that specific narrative, fitting that specific culture, right? And making it part of the communities, make it the communities, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely like inspiration from those and the one you mentioned.
Awesome, man. So I'm gonna ask you a question that most dev
Yeah,
hates, but
yeah, yeah.
when testnet?
Absolutely, 100%. That's what we're waiting for. Okay, so actually, we did the final pushes earlier this week, and during this weekend we're doing final pushes. We should expect something next week. That's
Ooh.
alpha. That's very much alpha. I
Let's
guess
go.
anyone who watches is gonna like hear that. So it's happening very soon, and then that's when like the fun starts. Really, that's when the fun starts. Everything from like testing it to like going ham. I can't wait to use it. I'm like super excited like, to use it. And I feel sometimes I'm just building this so I can use it myself and perform these trades I want to perform. But yeah, it's happening very soon. When testing it, it's very soon. Send hives. We're ready for this. We're here for it.
Let's go. Let's go. Are you guys doing any sort of like point system or anything like that?
Yeah, so anyone who joins the waitlist will have points and stuff. That's definitely one of the things. We're gonna be announcing a couple more stuff. Like I guess, man, this is alpha here. So when is this being posted?
Monday at the
Yeah,
latest.
yeah,
Monday?
It could be
yes.
today. We'll find out.
Yeah.
We'll
Depends
be
on the
announcing.
alpha. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
Okay, I'll announce it. But I want to be in conjunction when we tweet it out.
Okay.
But anyone on the waitlist, you have like if you're part of the waitlist, and you'll be part of Discord, and then from there you have a higher chance of winning OG passes, which will be dropped to you.
Ooh.
So you definitely want to be
I
on the
love
waitlist. But
OG passes.
yeah, the reason we haven't been promoting the OG passes is we don't want to get people confused with the waitlist. Like one waitlist does not equal one OG pass. It just gives you access to the testnet beta. But if you're on the waitlist, you have a higher chance of winning an OG pass, right? So the OG pass will be airdropped to the winners, right? So we'll be announcing that very soon. That's high tech alpha. That's like big alpha. So I accidentally I'm really bad because I get very excited. So I need to like calm down sometimes. Which is one of the reasons why like I put the poll: should we nuke this space or not? And people were like, "Yeah, nuke it." I'm like, thank you guys. You guys agree with me. I appreciate that.
So if I was someone on the outside looking in and I haven't really messed with anything, how do I join the WL?
Yeah. Okay. So we're partnering with different communities across the space on Bitcoin. So there's different wallets happening left and right. We're trying our best to retreat those, and then there'll be one last opportunity for you to join the waitlist before we close it off completely, right? And no more time, no more chance to join, right? But just to make it clear, the waitlist is to give you testnet beta access. It does not guarantee an OG pass, and I'm making that very blunt and straightforward, so people don't get confused and get the wrong idea. The last thing I want to do is like misguide or give people misinformation and like get that expectation or hopes up. It gives you access to test and beta, which you guys want to like be part of. Promise you, like you want to be part of that. Which we'll announce the reason why later on. But yeah, don't get that confused. OG passes will come as well, but that's later on. Like everything in its due time, right?
Hell yeah, man.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
Are the OG passes already like designed and created, or is that something that you're in the process of?
Yeah, so they're design created. It's actually we can probably our tweet like when we announce it when we officially close the waitlist, we'll probably just showcase what we have there, and go from there. But yeah, it's designed, it's created. Actually, we got community members who kind of pitched like their ideas for that too. and went from there. So again, we want the community involved as much as possible. So like that's one of the biggest things plays. And there's this book called Tribal Leadership. It talks about the 5 different levels of like kind of building a community. For us, our goal is like if we're building a Web3 company, let's build a Web3 entirely all the way, right? And it has to start very early on, right? So for our Discord, like we're gonna have a specific channel where you can submit proposals and stuff like that, and we'll incorporate those things, right? If it gets a voting, if it gets the amount of like kind of likes, whatever it is, go ahead and implement that. So I want to start very early on, so the process is a lot more smooth and a lot more seamless later on, right? So yeah, that's definitely our goal, and super excited about that too.
Awesome. So, you've done different startups before on different chains. What chains were those?
So it was Ethereum.
Okay, Ethereum.
yeah.
So, what's the biggest difference that you've noticed over here with building a community and a startup essentially versus Ethereum?
Yeah. Okay. So I love this question. Okay. The best example is this, right? On Ethereum, you had a skyscraper that was already built. All you had to do was search for an office and put your stuff on the office space, right? On Bitcoin, it's literally you're on the foundation, so you have to build your office from the ground up, right? And a lot of that is organic. Like think about it, guys. Like the Ordinals, like there was no VC funding, there was like no influencers shilling the space early on. It was organic. That's powerful, and that's how Bitcoin started too. There was no like VCs, no like this is why it's crazy and mind boggling, because like the same historical stuff that happened on Bitcoin happened with Ordinals, which goes to show like it's more than just like a coincidence. It's part of like a bigger purpose, right? Universal purpose. And so like for me, like seeing that is just as important. So like building that organic community of like people, genuine relationships in the space, right? It's something that I really love and loved a lot on Bitcoin. Ethereum is great. Ethereum has fantastic communities too. Not like be like baiting them or anything like that. I think they're great. Definitely walking them with open arms. I think Bitcoin is amazing, and it's definitely gaining more attention, which I'm happy about. But with Bitcoin, I saw for the first time. I mean, this is the first time I've ever been early to anything, right? From like the beginning to like now, right? So I saw for the first time the true power of like market, the true power of organic communities, and just organic ecosystem building in general, and not right. Like people were building stuff. Like literally, developers came from other blockchains to build stuff, protocols here, and sort of like speeds not seen before, right? So that's probably one of the biggest things, one of the big differences, and just kind of like individuals building faster, right? Shipping products faster. And sure, you can say like there was a blueprint in other ecosystems, but I mean, like
it's still different, like UTXO based versus like smart contracts, so
exactly.
But yeah, I mean, I think you put it perfectly, man. I think there is nothing similar than being early in innovation of something that's going to be great, and because you don't realize it. I mean, your intuition and your gut instinct tells you, yes, hang around, even though like people are leaving and then they're coming back and then leaving, but staying through, and then those relationships with the people that stayed, that those just become so strong and solid because you guys are like in the trenches together, and then all of a sudden like everybody floods in and you're like, hold a second. Okay, we'll take you, but still, like you ain't an OG. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, yeah, I feel that. I feel like one of my favorite guys, Donnie. He's with the Famojis right now, but like I remember he's saying during the summer. I think it was summer, like towards the end of summer, but he's like, yeah, Alfonso, like Alfonso, like by the way, my name is Alfonso. I keep on Alfonso, but Fonzi is my nickname. But feel free to come at either or. But he's like, yeah, Fonzie. Once more people start coming to the ecosystem, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna dip. I'm like, why, Donnie? He's like, because there's gonna be so much like stuff happening at once. And that's the case. I'm like, dang, like, he might have a point. Like I miss the old days when it was just a couple of people and we were just all having fun together, DJing together, right? But no, I welcome everyone. Everyone was welcome, of course. Like we welcome everyone. But yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. Yagobi. It's like those relationships are strong. You've been in the trenches together, so they're even stronger, right? As a result of that.
Yeah. I've been saying that since
always says that.
Since October. At the end of our space, I said, "Look who's to the left, look who's to the right," because these are the people that we grew up with. This is our family. In October, when it was quiet and dead, and the volume on Unisat was like zero.
Yeah,
so it was like
it's wild because like in December and like late November, December, like that was probably the biggest ordinal run that we've had. And like Shizzy looks to me because at this point, like we should be happy because like a lot of our assets are doing well, but we're like stressed actually because like so much is happening. And Shizzy's like, man, I miss the good old days. And I'm like, this is supposed to be the good days right now. But
I miss the quiet, man. It's too
Yeah.
loud.
Hey, I'm stressed. Look at my hair, guys. My hair is receding, boys. We need help. Send help. Send hypes too. No, I was gonna say like I want to say both too. Like you're happy because like you were early, so like you were able to like inscribe most of the stuff first. But at the same time, you're like, man, I miss those old days when it was just a couple of people and we're just like having fun. Not like, it was very quiet, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't blame you one bit. I don't blame you one bit.
Yeah, man. So in the beginning, you said you're a part of the bitmap community and stuff like that. So let's hit on that, man. How do you feel
Yeah.
about the whole bitmaps and that ecosystem?
I'm when I create a bitmap shilling group. So I'm a huge bitmap shiller. Like 20K is minimum at the very least for bitmap, and I truly
Let's
believe that.
go
Yeah, and the reason why like
wait, hold on. 20,000 US
per
doll hairs?
bitmap, bro.
per bitmap, yeah.
Okay.
Per bitmap.
Okay.
Think about it.
I
This is
like
what I
this
was
guy.
thinking. Think about it. But that's conservative, right? I think people saying I'm fading because it's too low, and I actually agree with them. I'm probably fading this. Probably needs to be higher. But think about it. Like the best comparison to bitmap on different blockchains is decentralized sandbox, right? At the height of like their community, and by the way, bitmap is going to be treated much different than NFT collection, right? It's like a token plus NFT collection, so it's probably the first one that's treated that way. So we haven't really seen like what the capacity potential of that is. But regardless, like decentralized sandbox, right? At the height of the last bull run, they were each around 20 to 25 billion. For bitmap to hit that much, it will need to hit like 20K per bitmap, and that's around the 18 to 20 billion range, right? So I say 40 to 50K is a lot much more feasible per bitmap. And by the way, like it's probably it can probably go higher, but like I'm a huge shiller. I love bitmap. Bitmap is like the OG community. I love every single person who is part of bitmap like are still there. And again, like there's dope people building like IMSO Chris, like his bitmap Valley, right? Getting to see that live was like so amazing too. I actually did an interview with IMSO Chris last year. So getting to talk to him about that and sort of what he was cooking there was amazing. But yeah, like I still hold my bitmap. That was the first project I minted. And the reason why is because I believe in the like metaverse, right? I was sold on the metaverse on Bitcoin. I was like, man, I don't know how it's gonna work, but like I'm excited for this. Let's get the ball rolling.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So anyone who's watching, like I tell people, anyone who's watching, like later on when you go to a real estate agent and stuff like that, and you say, okay, this house costs like $100 million, you'll be like, okay, I'll send you 4 bitmap.
4 bitmap.
Wow, bro. I thought I was bullish, but holy crap! I mean, our logo is a damn bitmap, and I don't. That's huge, bro. I hope you're right.
If you do the math, like it kind of makes sense because bitmap supply is way lower than decentralized and sandbox, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like they're token,
So
at least token comparison, yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Because and the thing is too, like supply shock. I'm telling you guys, like people might not be a fan of like bridging over to Merlin or whatever, but like right now there's 140,000 bitmap stake there, so that takes those out of circulation for a bit. So
yeah. You should be bullish on this, Shizzy and Yagobi. You should be bullish on this. My only mistake is not buying more or inscribing more.
Well, I mean, the way you're saying it, it's still freaking rock bottom prices. Like $200. I mean,
this is like Bitcoin at like 5 cents.
Yeah,
that's true. That's a good point. Never mind.
And then saying we're late, it's $200. You're talking about $250,000. Like
I'm gonna buy some more as we speak. I'm gonna buy some more, guys.
But you have to you do have to understand how early we are still though with bitmaps, because like the people are still building out infrastructure and stuff like that. So
exactly. Like also people, okay, so 2 things. People who sort of have sequential ones, like keep those. Like you don't want to sell those. And then don't parcel them out, keep them whole as well. That'll help a lot. But sequential, the reason why I say sequential is because you're gonna have like companies coming in as well and potentially buying like specific plots sequentially so they can build their own metaverse, right? So those are gonna be really, really valuable as well as the low ones, of course. But that's like I can go on and on with the bitmap, but yeah.
Dude, I don't have enough bitmaps, bro. I just got crazy FOMO.
You need more. Like, you need more. I'm telling you, like, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. Yeah, like the day I hope it doesn't happen, but the day I have to sell my bitmap, I'm gonna cry. But I'll have an onion next to me so people don't think I'm crying for real.
Let's go.
That's funny.
All right, man. This has been absolutely amazing. We really appreciate your time. We know you're very busy with everything, but this is part of the show. We kind of give you the stage to talk to our community. This is the time
Yeah.
you get to speak about whatever you want, and the stage is yours, buddy.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this. I feel like I wish I can do this every day with you guys. It's been so much fun. You guys have been amazing. Definitely the space. Shout out to you guys for inviting me there. It's fun for inviting me here. Definitely want to be thankful to the community in general. Like Ordinal's community, you guys are second to none. Like you guys are fucking amazing. Oh, sorry, you guys are amazing. Sorry, we got to bleep that out.
Nah,
But you guys are amazing and stuff. Like what we've been able to achieve together as a group, like last year has just it's literally like unheard of, right? So super thankful for Bitcoin Startup Lab, Bison Labs out there. Just my team in general, right? They're like, every strong idea, every strong project protocol requires a strong team. And I'm very thankful for these guys, very grateful. So like 100% super excited to like share this with you guys. And again, it's a process, right? It's an iterative process. We got to iterate all this time, and we want the feedback. We want the community part of the entire process along the way, and go from there, right? So yeah, definitely check us out. Check out our channel Ordinal Hive on Twitter. And then our Discord should be open, but we sent out codes to people on the waitlist first. And then we're going to go ahead and share more information about testnet. So stay tuned to that. And then we'll be sending out more information regarding like the overall process. And also we will be sharing with you our white paper very soon, which we're actually very, very excited about that too. But yeah, 100%. Thank you so much guys for having me here. And it's been a blast.
Sounds great, man. And we would
Awesome.
love to have you back on for to show the product when it's live on
Yeah.
testnet. You can give us a full
Absolutely.
tutorial video. That would be
Yeah.
amazing. And I think like the community would really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I love to do that. Absolutely. 100%. I'm on.
Awesome.
All right. Well,
thank
it was great talking to you, and we'll be in touch soon.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Shizzy. Yagobi, right? Yagobi.
Yeah, Yagobi.
Yep.
Yagobi, Shizzy. Thank you guys.
See you, buddy.
Take it easy.
That was absolutely amazing, dude. Fonzie's a great dude. I mean, he was awesome in the spaces, but actually seeing his face and seeing his reaction, he just gets me so goddamn bullish, dude. I'm ready. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, that's the kind of energy you want, like one of your leaders of your company project to have, because it's contagious, right? It's just like contagious. It kind of gets people going, motivated, and he has that. And I think like it's a perfect like market fit product too, because let's be honest, we got degens over here, and ordinals, and they love to trade and they love to, flip and make money. And some people do this for a living. I had a community member DM me, he's like, this is what I'm doing for a living right now. And, and I love it. So, it's going to be interesting once the product launches testnet. And I expect a really good, solid product because it's coming out of BTC Startup Labs. And excited about it.
And there's not many people in the space where I would say they have it, right? There's Benny, there's Jeff, there's definitely Fonzi, there's guys like Sam from Ordinal side. They have that it factor, right? And I feel like Fonzi has it, and I'm not really sure what it is, but that's the fire I get when I get bullish and things. It's like when people have that it factor.
Yeah, and man, like you and I are so lucky we get to have this job, right? Like to talk to these people, because in a year later, they could be huge. You know what I mean? They will be. I feel like, especially coming out of that accelerator. But yeah, man, I feel like we're super blessed to be able to interview these innovators.
Yeah, I agree, and I think the BTC Startup Lab is going to put out some billion-dollar companies, man. It's really good. It's really fun to see, and then we can say we interviewed them first, right? So that's awesome. But guys, that is our show. We appreciate you guys. Smash the like for us. Hit the subscribe. Please check out our spaces. Guys like Fonzi are in the spaces. Check out ordinalrevolution.com. We have some of the best articles on there. And if you're going to ETH Denver, we have a merchandise platform as well. Go get all your Ordinal gear, your Ordinal hats, everything that Yagobi has on right now, all in that store. We appreciate you guys. Appreciate our members. We do have a membership program. We do member-only videos. Check that out as well, guys. We're building just like everyone else, and we appreciate the support.
Yeah, and if you are a member, don't forget, make sure you watch that membership video tomorrow, because we're going to start collecting addresses for the OG pass. But it's going to be exciting.
See you guys.
Peace.
Ordinal Revolution. Let's go.